Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy. Today we're going to take a Wrangler Rubicon 4xe off-road. Let's get right into it. Let's take a quick look at the 4xe that we're using for today's review. Up front we've got a steel bumper, we also have a winch, 33-inch all-terrain tires, and we've got another steel bumper in the back. This of course has a 2-speed transfer case, off-road plus, sway bar disconnect, diff locks front and rear. 4-wheel drive low, off-road plus, and I did air down the tires to about what I would normally air down a vehicle. Now I will say this is actually quite impressive. Now the Jeep feels like this is a 30, you guys can see almost 33 degrees. I think at one point it gets to 33 degrees. The Jeep really feels like a huge incline because it's not that big of a vehicle. The wheelbase is a decent size, but yeah, when you have a smaller vehicle, the incline feels that much more aggressive. Like I almost feel like I'm in a roller coaster. Now this is another loose, steep incline. I will say I'm not a fan of this 4xe powertrain off-road. I understand that people talk about like the power or the control with the electric mode, and I like that part of it, but when the engine inevitably kicks in when you need it, it's pretty difficult with the turbos. Now Off-Road Plus fixes a lot of my complaints with the Wrangler in terms of the control. It's actually a pretty, that's what I'm talking about. It's actually a pretty good traction control system, so I think that they've done a good job with that. Now for intermission between climbs, we're back in 4-wheel drive high part-time and Off-Road Plus on. This is gonna be some kind of like middle speed. We'll kind of test out the maneuverability, suspension control, all of that fun stuff. Let's see what the turning is like here. Now this, even though the sway bar has been connected the full time, articulates really well with the sway bar connected. Ooh, the steering is fighting me a bit in this 4-wheel drive part-time. It's not bad, but I definitely gotta muscle it a little bit. Not the worst turning radius, but you know, not too bad. I will say these sorry, let me recline this a little bit better so you guys can see better. I feel like these modern Wranglers are a lot more controllable than they used to be. We'll go up that same hill that we just went up, but in 4-wheel high with a little bit of speed. Yeah, this is a lot better than my 22 Wrangler, it seems like, with the control. Now mine still had the Off-Road Plus, so I'm not talking about traction, but it seems like that new axle setup in the rear does help out. Like I don't feel like I'm like my 22, man, I felt so kind of scared in some ways going at higher speeds because it just didn't feel very controllable. This, on the other hand, it can actually do it, and it's pretty comfortable too. I mean, I've got the tires air down obviously, but it's actually doing this quite well, this trail running fun. Yeah, and the traction control system's great. So that's that 33-degree incline at a quick speed. Yeah, this thing actually handles pretty darn well for a Jeep. So they didn't, I mean, again, compared to my 22, they improved this a massive amount. Again, this is still not a high-speed off-roader by any means, but it can actually, I mean, it can boogie. It can actually boogie a little bit. Like, this is quite impressive what this is doing in this 4-wheel drive high. Yeah, look at this. We're just mobbing. And it does have the ground clearance and the travel to be able to handle this. Now this is actually pretty articulated. This is one of the obstacles we'll be going through in 4-wheel drive low. But you can see even in 4-wheel drive high, it just scoots through. I guess since we're already up here, we'll start with the descent. And this is where we'll use the sway bar disconnect, which will give us extra articulation. Yeah, just completely flattens it all out. Jeeps do really have, these Wranglers do have the best articulation in the game. And we'll just pop up quickly for another run. Man, if this is, I want to keep doing a few more tests, but if this is how the new Wranglers are, I might be a Jeep person again. Because again, I was somewhat disappointed with some of the handling characteristics and everything in my 22, but it really does seem like they've fixed a lot of that with this new version of the JL. Well, we're gonna go back up. And again, I still have my sway bar disconnected. I think as long as I stay under like 15, 20 miles an hour, it should stay disconnected. It'll automatically re-disconnect if I go above the speed and then back down below. It'll automatically disconnect again. Yeah, still not a fan of this engine. It's not the worst, but I definitely preferred the 392 that I owned in terms of the power delivery. But yeah, let's see how this does with the sway bar. I'm going purposely slow, by the way. Yeah, this thing articulates so well. I think that handled that better than any vehicle I've taken through in terms of just getting grip because of the massive articulation. So we're first going to try this out completely unlocked. And if we get through, I'll do a second run with the diffs locked. Now, I will say the clearances on this thing are quite impressive. Okay, so here's the traction control system trying to work it out. Oh, there we go. It's coming forward. Okay, and this is, I mean, this is part, you know, the Jeep. But then also partially me, because I'm working it too. Man, that Off-Road Plus, I would say that's but not quite as quick to react as Toyota or Land Rover, but man, that's a pretty darn good system. We have gone all out, sway bar disconnected, Off-Road Plus, axles locked, front and rear. And you guys got to remember, this is the 33-inch tire Wrangler. This ain't the Extreme Recon, because it's a 4xe. Oh. Bottomed out a little bit, but we got skid plates, so we're fine. Oh, definitely used them there. Definitely used them a lot more than expected. I might be high centered a little bit, but I think I'm fine. If that was my vehicle, I would have maybe taken it a little bit quicker, but not my vehicle, so we gotta be careful. I definitely used the skid plates there a little bit, but you can see with the axles locked, way more control than just using the Off-Road Plus. In conclusion, this is the best Wrangler yet when it comes to off-road capability. It still has the lockers. It still has the advanced traction control system that I feel like is even better than it was before. The thing that impressed me the most today, though, was the comfort. This is a lot more comfortable than what Wranglers used to be in the past. And again, this only has 33s. It'd be even more comfortable with 35-inch tall tires. And it actually handles. Again, it's definitely not a Raptor by any means, but it feels like it's actually controllable, whereas the previous version of the JL didn't really feel like it was all that controllable. And so Jeep has made the Wrangler even better off-road. It's way more well-rounded than it was in the past, and I am honestly extremely impressed with this new Wrangler. I'm excited for the comparison that I'll be doing with this against the Grenadier and the Land Cruiser, so stay tuned for that.